Hi, I'm Rob. It's garage time. Off we go then. Hi everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Welcome to the garage and part 2 of episode 30. In this installment, I'm going to be doing the work that it takes to bypass the anti-lock braking system on my Husqvarna Vitpilen 401. As I have been so fond of saying, throughout all my internet searching and talking to other racers, I seem to be the only person in the world who is racing a Husqvarna Vitpilen 401. So if that's a path you choose to follow, what follows in this video is what you're going to have to do to bypass the anti-lock braking system, should your sanctioning body require that the ABS be either deleted or bypassed. So hopefully what I do in this video will help somebody, I don't know. And just to let you know, this is going to be a long one because there's a lot going on to get at and bypass the ABS. Some of it's easy. A lot of it isn't. I count this as one of the most difficult aspects of the project. And with that in mind, let's get to work. So next on the modification list was rendering the anti-lock braking system non-functional as required by the US CRA rules. And you would think that my next step would be referring to my 2022 Husqvarna Vitpilen service and repair manual. But okay. Alrighty. So, as I had mentioned, you would think, logic would dictate, that you would be able to look in the Husqvarna Vitpilen 401 repair manual for 2022. This is the factory service and repair manual that you could buy directly from the Husqvarna website or the KTM website. Yeah. So let's take a look through and see what we've got for references to the ABS system. Okay, first page of the table of contents. The first thing that we notice is that the table of contents is not organized in alphabetical order. Come over here. Aha! Brake system. Now, one would think that any reference to the anti-lock braking system would be in the brake system section of the manual, but no. No. Not a mention. Okay, combination instrument. Oh, there's the ABS display. That's no help. Now, let's go to the back of the book. Because, maybe there's something in the index, possibly. Go to the back of the index. Okay, back of the book. Okay, let's go backwards through the pages. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, and this is organized alphabetically. So we go to the very front. And, oh, okay. All right, ABS fuses, changing. ABS mode, adjusting. That would be adjusting the ABS mode in the gauge pod. So yeah, nothing. Well, damn. In fact, the only reference to the ABS module, besides in the electrical diagram, which is no help. We go here to the chassis tightening torques, and here we have fitting ABS module retaining bracket. Yeah, we know what the torque value is for that. And then down here, screw ABS module, which would be the screw that holds the ABS module onto the bracket. Yeah, and then nothing. So the only reference to the ABS module in this manual is the tightening torques for 2 screws, how to change the fuse, and how to adjust the mode on the combination instrument. How do you get at it? Beats me. Fundamentally, there is no mention of how to get at the ABS unit in the service manual. So, damn. Looks like I'm figuring this out on my own. So, let's break out some tools and have fun. First thing you got to do to get at the ABS unit is to remove the fuel tank. The fuel tank is held in place by 3 bolts, 2 at the front and 1 at the back. Gently pull it up from the chassis, working it side to side so that you can get at the various connections that are underneath. Lift it up and tilt it over. The first thing I did was disconnect the electrical connector to the fuel pump.
There we go. There's the fuel pump connector. Now.
And then unclipped and disconnected the vent hose and then the fuel overflow hose. The next thing I did on the left-hand side was disconnect the high-pressure fuel hose that goes to the left-hand side of the fuel pump. You just pinch the 2 buttons that are on the side of the quick disconnect and it pops right off. Okay, there's that one. Then I move over to the right side of the bike. You can see the fuel filter just kind of pops out of its spring clip that holds it to the bottom of the tank. And then I undo the quick disconnect to the high pressure hose on the right-hand side of the fuel pump. Once the tank's lifted up and out of the way, I was able to unclip the fuel filter and hose assembly from the high pressure hose that goes down to the fuel injector. With the fuel filter and hose assembly out of the way, I removed a plastic cover that holds one of the electronics units in place. And right here is where I discovered that you cannot get to the ABS pump from the top. Oh man. I got at the bore scope and poked it down into the chassis so that I could see the ABS pump. And right there is the top of the ABS pump with 2 of the brake hose connections. The banjo bolt on the left goes forward to the front brake caliper. And the banjo bolt on the right goes forward to the front brake master cylinder. It's really tight in there. You can get a wrench on the banjo bolts, but there's no way you can get them out. So rather than hassling with that, I decided I would just move on to bypassing the ABS pump using these. Some Galfer stainless steel braided brake lines. One for the rear of the bike and one for the front of the bike that are intended for 2015 and up KTM RC390s non-ABS style bikes. I started with the hose on the caliper that comes from the ABS pump, undid the banjo bolt, set up a bucket and just let it drain, then undid the banjo bolt at the master cylinder that goes to the ABS pump, snipped some zip ties, pulled the hose out, and then worked my way down until that hose was just dangling down the side of the bike. So here I have my Galfer KTM RC390 non-ABS hose, and it is marked this end for the master cylinder, but I'm not sure if that's going to fit the way I want it to. So we're going to take this one. This is supposed to be the bottom end that goes to the caliper, but it sure does seem to fit more nicely right here. I'll leave it finger tight for now, and then take you and then run you through like so. Yeah. I threaded the hose through, I got it attached to the caliper. I even got it into the stock hose holder. It is attached nicely to the master cylinder. According to Galfer, this end is supposed to be the caliper end, and this end is supposed to be the master cylinder end, but they fit better this way, I think. Probably because these are not stock handlebars for either the KTM RC390 or for the stock Vitpilen. These are the clip-ons that I added on there, so it may very well be that it fits better in the reverse direction because I have the clip-ons on there. So anyway, yeah, let's move on to installing the rear brake hose. It's pretty straightforward, and in fact is a little more straightforward than running the front hose. And that's because the banjo bolt ends of the Galfer hose were bent in the correct orientation for the Vitpilen 401 master cylinder and brake caliper. The brake caliper and the brake caliper bracket on the Vitpilen 401 are identical to the KTM RC390. The Vitpilen uses the same master cylinder as the KTM RC390. The foot peg brackets are very different, and the master cylinder on the Vitpilen is mounted lower and angled back more. The only thing that I really had to do so that I could hold the hose in place so it didn't bump into either the pre-muffler or the frame tube was drill a small hole in the forward part of the swing arm on the top surface so that I could stick a zip tie through to hold that loop of the Galfer brake hose in place. And now the part of the project that I've been avoiding. Right here, this is what's known in the parlance as the right side ABS cover. And you can see this 10mm bolt right here. As we found with the ABS unit itself, there is nothing in the official Husqvarna service manual that talks about how to get these things off, but I figured it out because I'm a genius. This little 10mm bolt here, you can see it's got a ground strap attached to it. You undo this bolt, like so. There we go. There is in fact a captive nut on the other side. My hands are in the way, I know you can see. Whoops. And here it is right here. Well, actually, I replaced the captive nut with this nut because the captive nut that would ordinarily clip around this fitting right here had broken off. So to take this cover off, once you undo that bolt, it just kind of lifts out like that. With the cover moved, you get a clear view of the right side of the ABS pump and 3 of the brake hoses attached on top. Here's what you do on the left-hand side. First, you undo these 2 socket heads, holding the ignition coil in place. There's this little plastic cover. The screws come out with spacers on them so you don't crush the plastic cover. There we go. Okay. There's the cover. Here are the screws with their little standoffs. And you can just kind of shove the coil out of the way in this direction. There we go. There's a ground wire that gets attached to the coil, core. Right there, underneath the cover. You have to remember to put that back on or you will be in trouble. Yes. This 10mm bolt right here, you undo that. Screw comes out, there's the screw. And then the cover lifts right off. You swing it out, boom. Like so. Now, this is the key lock for the seat release, which I've already undone. This cable right here, this is the seat release. I am now pulling on the seat release and would have been able to release the seat if the seat was in place. So before I get too much more involved in showing you guys exactly what I had to disassemble to access the 4 brake line connections on the top of the ABS pump, I thought I would show you what it is I have to deal with. And of course that meant drawing a diagram because I like drawing diagrams. It's kind of my thing. What we're looking at right here is a top-down view of the ABS pump. On the top of the ABS pump are the 4 brake hose connections. The 2 on the left are marked F for front. The 2 on the right are marked R for rear. This one comes from the rear master cylinder and it's connectorized. It's got a little 2-wire harness on it with a connector on the end. And that's because this particular banjo bolt has a pressure switch inside it. Pressure comes from the rear master cylinder, squeezes that pressure switch, and that turns on the rear brake light. The ABS pump is mounted to a steel plate that is relatively triangular in shape and has holes for 3 rubber isolators. The isolators are there to protect the ABS pump from the vibration of the engine. There are 2 at the back and 1 at the front. That is what the ABS pump and its mounting plate generally looks like. Now you've seen me take off the ABS side covers, and you've actually seen the banjo fittings and the banjo bolts. There is a top frame tube with a steel plate welded to that, the one that caused me the despair in one of the other scenes. You can in fact get a wrench onto these banjo bolts on the top of the banjo fittings that are mounted to the top of the ABS pump, but there is not enough distance between the bolt and this top plate, this welded in top plate, to pull the bolt all the way out and remove the banjo fitting. What I needed to do was take the entire ABS pump with its plate and lower it, bring it down this way. And so the plan I came up with was to remove the 3 isolators. Each of these 3 isolators has a bolt on the top and a nut on the bottom. Getting these isolators out isn't terrifically difficult, as you will see. There's a little bit of further disassembly that I have to do to get the bolt on the top of the front isolator out, and you'll see that. So let's go make that plan happen. You can see right here the bolt that is on top of the right side ABS pump isolator. And right there is the nut that is on the bottom of that right side ABS plate isolator. We pan the camera up, and right there is the forward isolator, the second of 3, with its bolt on the top. And we come around here, and there, right here, there is the nut on the bottom of the forward isolator. I've already done a little bit of disassembly. A bolt has been removed right there. There, my friends, is the standoff. I got to undo the nut, and I got to undo this bolt. You can see the bolt's already loose, but this little electronics unit is in the way. And there are 2 bolts that fasten that in place that I can get at from underneath. So I got to undo that, move this thing out of the way, then I can get that standoff out, and then I can go over to the other side and undo the standoff on the other side that's just like this. Let's get the tool up in there. Okay. Grab this thing. Oh, wow. So this plugs into a connector that I had already disconnected. Good. Okay. Okay, there's that. Can I, in fact, get the standoff out? Okay. There's one. With all of the isolators removed, I was able to pull out the banjo bolts on the top of the ABS pump. The 2 on the front of the pump were easy, but the one with the brake light pressure switch was not. I had to use curved nose pliers to untwist the little harness as I turned the bolt. I pulled a hose out from the pump once the bolt was out. Okay, and now we can get a socket on that last banjo bolt, and out it comes. Whoops, and there is, come on. This whoops, and there goes the hose. Nice. This, my friends, is the ordeal by which you must. And here it is. It just fell out on its own. The banjo bolt, the seal washer, and the infamous and ever wonderful, I don't even know which one this is. Does this go up to the... I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this one goes anymore. It goes to the front, I know that. Oh well, you can go over with your other friend over there. All right, in order to get these two hoses out of there, I have to undo some cable clamps that are bolted to the chassis. Let's nick that particular zip tie. There we go. So that you can get out of the way slightly. And then what I will do is point this thing down in there, and it's probably going to be looking at it upside down. But right down in there, you can see a bolt. And that bolt holds a cable clip, or a cable clamp rather, that is holding the two brake hoses in place. And that's not the only one. There are, I think, two more on the way down to the swing arm. So I have to undo that. It's going to take some hassle to get it out. I suppose I could have shown you, but I didn't. With the help of a small bendable ratchet box end, I got the first one of the clamps out. And just so you know, that particular clamp came from this little welded boss right here on the inside of it. So these guys are free-ish. Now let's drag these things through the frame. Okay, there's those. I happen to know that there's another clamp right back here. Okay, so now you go on there. Right. And then we will endeavor to fit our hand through in two different directions. Oh, that's gonna suck. You know, I might be having to do this from the other side entirely. Oh no, there we go. Ah, my hand's stuck. Yay. And then we have a... Oh, look at you. Let's not break the wheel speed sensor wire. Come on. There we go. Wow. There is the, whoa. Here's the hose that went from the ABS pump to the caliper. Up, and the clamp came with it. And that, yes, bye-bye, go away. And then, where's the other one? There you were. Now let's look at this thing. Aha. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Can we get that in there and cut it? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, apparently we can. And then there's another one. There, now we're right side up. Okay, there's the master cylinder. And that right there, here's the sensor wire. And I'm pretty sure that this right here is the hose. Yeah. There we go. Let's see if we can feed it down. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh, well. Well, look at that. Success. This is the hose that goes from the ABS unit to the master cylinder. Right there. Go away. Let's go. Whoop, frightening. Terrifying. Let's go to the hardware store and buy some 10mm bolts to plug up the ABS unit, and then we can start putting it all back together. And then I went to the hardware store so that I could get, because I wanted to get some bolts that would replace the banjo bolts. And the banjo bolts in this thing are a 10 millimeter by 1 millimeter pitch thread. And they don't sell those at the hardware store. The finest thread that you can get there is 1.25 millimeters. But what they did have were these things. These are 3/8 by 3/8 heavy duty steel spacers. And I don't know if you can see, let's shove this thing, push this thing into the picture a little better. As you can see, I've already got a couple of them on there, and they work just mint. So what I'm gonna do is grab my bucket of original stock Husqvarna banjo bolts and screw them into the holes with their seal washers. But since they don't have to hold any pressure, they don't have to be torqued to, what was 211 inch-pounds, something like that. Not insignificant. There's one, and then this one. Brake fluid, I hate getting brake fluid on my fingers. I hate it. It is the ickiest stuff in all of Christendom and the pagan lands. There we go. Whoops. Barking spiders. Let's see if I can get my hand in there to hold on to things. There we go. That, my friends, is tight enough. Tight enough for just blocking off those ports. Ow. On the ABS unit. Let's not wreck anything. Let's not wreck anything more than we already have. There's that. And yeah, that's tight enough. Yeah. So now it's time for some reassembly, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, in fact, it is. So let us slide this back up into place. Okay, there we go. The standoff and the nut. Forceps. These things are the bomb, seriously. In you go. Yep. And then bring that in and hold it with the pliers. Apply the wrench. There we go. There. Good enough. Okay, there's that one. Okay, so we have one, there's 2 standoffs, 3 standoffs. Let's put some screws in and bolt that ABS unit down. Relocate and zip tie the seat release. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. Next. All right, so last night we got, there's the little electronics unit. It's mounted. It's plugged into its connector. The ABS unit is mounted on all 3 of its bolts, and it never got unplugged, so it's plugged in. We'll go over to the other side. There's the 3rd bolt. The red connector got plugged in. This connector right here, that's the connector for the little electronics unit. That's plugged in. The wheel speed sensor wire got reconnected. So we're all set to close this up. So, oh, and then I reconnected this wire right here, the one I've got the light on. This wire right here is the ground for the ABS unit, and it was attached to the nut down in there that holds the isolator in place on the plate, and was thereby very difficult to get that ground strap back on. So what I did was I just attached it at a different point, that ground lug on the chassis for two other grounds. A ground is a ground. You ground it to the chassis, it doesn't matter where you put the ground, a ground is a ground. Zip tie the ABS enclosure cables. Zip tie the wheel speed sensor cable. The other side, and the wheel speed sensor cable. ABS cover 1. Ta-da! ABS cover 2 with the bolt. Yay. And let's light it up. ABS cover 3. There was cable clip in that little hole right there that was for holding the clutch cable back a little bit, but I am somewhat unconcerned. Let's watch the movement. There's the clutch cable, and we go in, and it is not getting smushed or contorted in any meaningful way. So we're just gonna leave it be. Oh yeah, my fantastic DP brake pads that I drove through up to Palmer last weekend to get track use only. Yeah, let's open those up. Bet they look pretty good. There they are. Okay, let's get the stalkers out of there. Oops, pull this clip. Boom. Oops, nope, you go that way. There we go. Pull that out. The spring. Come on. There's the spring. Even though these have plenty of life left in them, those are street pads, not race pads. Okay, there's that one. My new DPs go. Huh. There we go. Okay, there's that one. There we go. Okay, now there's that. Put the spring in like so. Although it goes up a little higher. Doesn't it? Yeah, it does. The pin goes in. Through. Come on. Through that. Come here. There we go. Oops. Yeah, there's that. The safety clip. Boom. Mark it so that, just to make sure that you can tell that it's not moving. Good. There's that. Front brake pads. There they are. There they are. Good. Okay, we're getting down the list. You go into this quick disconnect, like so. There. That's easy. Okay. So this one goes here. There. And then we can push the fuel filter up into that. Then, right, So you go here. There. There we go. Yes, they are. There we go. Okay, there's that. They're both on. And then we just kind of take this thing and shove everything down in there. And there it is. Well, that worked out nicely. The fuel tank has been replaced. Okay. Alrighty then, let's bleed these brakes. Okay. Flex head wrench. Now this is 8mm. This is 7/16, which I happen to know will fit on this just nicely. Come on. There we go. Open, closed. Suction device, Mighty Vac. Then apply the vacuum. Go. And all that bubbling, that's all the air that's in this hose. More vacuum. Oop. There we go. More vacuum. Those bubbles you're seeing right there are coming from around there. And that's because it's sucking air in around where I've pushed the little hose onto the bleeder. We get some more room in there. Yeah. Let us pump the pedal. That looks pretty good. That feels nice and tight. Once more with feeling. There we go. And once more with even more feeling. There we go. That, my friends, I'm going to call as bled. Yes, I am. That feels really good. Nice and tight. Oh yeah. Feels good, okay. Cap goes on. We're at the full level. Cap goes on. Okay, how about we get the front brake bled? Yay. My estimation is that we are done. Yeah, that feels pretty good. That feels really good. Oops. Stop doing that. All right. And with the brakes bled, the ABS bypass is actually fully functionally done. Cool. Okay, completed. And I did take it for a couple test beats up and down the street, and everything works fine. So, as I am again so fond of saying, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you around the channel.
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, my daddy, he raced stock cars a long, long time ago at New England's fastest quarter mile, doing old Westboro Road. He and Mom would rally around in their MGTD, but they bought a Porsche 356 to you, my mom and me. I was raised by gearheads, this apple fell not far from under Daddy's tutelage, messing around with cars.
Hello, everybody. It's your old... Shit. Hello, everybody. It's your old pal, Rob. Welcome to the garage and Focus.